Yo, what up? This is Mike Brown, and this is The Art of Letting Go. What's going on, y'all? Today, I have two special guests in the building. One, and I was going to start the episode by saying hi because you just wrote a book. But before we get into that, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves to the audience.
My name is Carrie Blackmore. And I just moved down here to LA. Candace is my business partner and one of my first friends down here, so I'm excited to have a conversation with you guys and hang out a little bit.
And Candace, because we go back. We go all the way back. So I would love for you to introduce yourself to the people as well.
Hi, everyone. I am Candace. Like Mike told you, we go all the way back from when I had a juice bar on Hollywood Boulevard. So I am more than privileged to be here. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of him and this flow and how we're going to kind of handle this podcast.
I appreciate y'all being here. Well, first, I really wanted to start by thanking you guys for being here. But also talking about, some of the things you've been doing. It's been a minute since we've caught up. Yeah, and, when I first met you, you were doing farming and you were also doing the juice. And you're still doing farming in multiple ways. And, I really would love for you to just speak on your book, which is about growing your own marijuana. And let us know a little more about that.
Thank you. When you met me, I think that was the beginning of clean and exactly kind of what we were striving to make people healthy and not even make. I think that's the wrong terminology I'm using. It was more of introducing them to a better lifestyle, of saying that just because you're in an artistic or artsy type of vibe, you can still have this healthy lifestyle, especially in Hollywood where they don't really give you a lot on movie scenes or commercials. You get fast food and certain things. So going into clean, that was the entire gimmick that was my vision for clean in all essence. So with the beginning of that, we kind of just grew from there. And I think because I was raised in a farming setting in South Carolina, where I'm from, it just became natural for me to actually get in and say, hey, this is how I can contribute my space on earth. And while I'm here, I'm thankful for life and to be here, but I can contribute by helping people become and let them know without food, we won't be alive. And so how can we mix that in with all these different superficial things that we have going on and help people understand without what you're eating, you could be a lot better at what you do. And so I think that's where clean strived from what I felt I could contribute. And then it just kind of grew legs from there, per se.
That's what's up. We kind of talked about it before, but I definitely wanted to talk to you about, because like I said, we've been knowing each other for a while, but our journeys have been very similar, because I remember when my grandmother was sick, your grandmother was sick, and your grandmother had passed and mine passed 2017. But I really wanted to talk to you about how you got through that and how did you heal from that, because I feel like I'm still on my own healing journey with all of that, and sometimes I'm moving so much that it doesn't really cross my mind, but when I do slow down, it does kind of hit me a little different. So I was curious to know what are you doing within your healing process?
Oh, that's a good one. Because I don't feel like I really truly have healed yet. There's a lot deep within me that I think I had to deal with when my grandmother passed. My mom had me at an early age, so both of my grandparents raised me. And so my grandmother was my mother. That connection I had with her was obviously a mother and daughter connection. So when she got sick, it was it was preparation, because in my mind I had to realize, here she's older, she's my grandmother. I think it hit in the late in life that she was my grandmother instead of my mother. I think that's when it hit. So when she ended up getting sick, I dropped everything. Obviously, I fell off the map, and I went home and I spent every awakening moment with her, because I think deep down I kind of knew. I didn't want to face it. It was like denial, but I kind of knew. So I kept busy by doing work at the hospital. I think I slept there every day. The nurses would like bring me food. I would keep busy by working. And after she passed, it was almost like I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to be in present moment of realizing what just happened to my life. My other grandmother is living. She's absolutely well, amazing. So that brought a stronger bond to saying like, hey, Candace, I think life just hit, like you don't have this much longer to kind of be in this space. So while you're here in this space and this energy, it's important for you to let people know what's going on with you. Communicate, whatever you need to tell your grandmother now, tell her, establish that relationship that you feel maybe you're missing, and I don't feel like it was anything I was missing, but when you're realizing something is missing, then even the smallest things, then you attack that situation to make it bigger, is what I'm kind of getting at. So from that point forth, I began meditation. I began a lot of workouts. I think it was an ongoing situation of therapy. I did hit therapy. I did this Buddhist therapy that is really good. I do recommend it to everybody. It was online, and then I went to the Buddhist temple in West Hollywood. Yeah, and I kind of went there a lot of alone time. I kind of fell off, stopped doing business a while, and just got back to me. I think that was my regimen. I don't know if that helps anyone, but that worked for me. I think just kind of blocking everybody out and secluding myself and realizing, coming back to me and what I needed to do to kind of heal from whatever I was going through.
That's real. Man. And you getting through it. I think that's really dope, everything that you're doing. I have my own ways of, I meditate, do yoga, but I think creating has been a very helpful source for me of doing things. I would love to know how you heal as well.
So I guess I'll just talk about grandparents, because my grandparents passed away when I was way younger. And it was really, really hard for my family. And I was 14 when they both passed away, because they were like within a few months of each other. And it actually like really affected our whole family, because my mom was really depressed by it. So I think like being so young back then, I like suppressed so much of it. And I think that it kind of like came out later in life, being like, oh, like I wish I would have spent more time and like cherished them more while I had them. So that was hard. And I think that I just faced it later in life, And I think it's a lot of the things you guys are saying too, is like meditating, creating, kind of just appreciating the things that you have, and like taking the extra moments in life to, like, even with the really small things, being like, okay, I appreciate that, and you're realizing you're not going to have it forever. I think that was what it really opened my eyes to. So that would probably be it. And then like healing wise too, I think just exercising and trying to stay like mentally healthy too,
That's really dope. Mental health is so important, because we deal with things on a daily basis. So just taking that time to, check in with yourself. It's funny, I explained it to somebody like your car. You get your oil change checked regularly. You get it changed regularly, and you got to do those mental check-ins on a regular basis as well. One way that did work for me, and it's funny, it still works, but it doesn't work as much as it used to. And I guess I'm finding, and not that it doesn't work as much as it used to, but I'm finding my levels of consumption with it is marijuana. I would love, because I know you guys are working in that field. I would love for you to speak on just you know, the benefits of it, and you know how you guys I guess how you guys would recommend like the use of it, because I know, you know, especially for me from where I'm from, you know, it wasn't really taught as something that's used to heal. It was kind of abused. So I would love for y'all to share on that as well.
So I actually don't even smoke at all. I went through my phase of it, and for me, it was like it didn't make me productive. And it's kind of like a person by person thing, which makes it like very hard to regulate in a way, because for me, if I smoke even a little bit, I'm just like useless, you know. And maybe it's because I haven't found my strain. And I think too, when I was in my phase, we didn't really know as much about it, you know. Like now there's so much more information coming through. But yeah, there's so much more information, and it's really cool that we're making this shift to like using it as medicine, because it's so helpful for people. I'm more into the CBD stuff, of course, since I don't smoke. But CBD has just been like life-changing, you know? So as far as consumption, I don't consume, so I can't really give advice on that. Candace can probably give a lot more advice on that. But yeah, it's definitely like an interesting phase we're in with it all. And I love that we're like learning more about it, and it's really becoming medicine as opposed to a drug, you know? I'll hand it over to Candace.
Cannabis is my life. Like, I think to be clear, I've been consuming cannabis since I was probably 14. And I first smoked I smoked by myself. My first time smoking. And I had the most amazing time by myself. Like it was a good ride. You understand? Like it wasn't too high, it wasn't too low, it wasn't like trippy, it was just right. And I remember, not verbatim, but I do remember vaguely going home and having a good conversation with my grandmother. She was watching Young and the Restless at the time, because she worked third shift on Michelin Tire. And my grandfather, he was always in the youth center, and he was in politics a lot. And he cut hair on the side for the boys who couldn't afford it if their fathers weren't there. So I remember him being in the room and her having Young and the Restless on, and I remember just going in and wanting to engage in a conversation with her. Like I wanted to be there. So I think at an early age, that made my experience so positive that from then on, it was just like, oh yeah, this is the space I'm in. It wasn't an influential thing with my friends. It wasn't peer pressure. It wasn't, oh, let me get drunk and smoke some weed. It was like, let me smoke this and see how I act. And as soon as I smoked it, I literally rode my bike home and was like, okay, what are you watching? And she was like, oh, Young and the Restless. And I was like, great, how's school? And I was like, it's good. Like, I did this. It was a great conversation. And I went to bed. Yeah. And every day after that was like, oh no, I got to have this in my life. Like, this is great. When I'm not smoking, I noticed that smoking and meditation for me go hand in hand. So when I'm not smoking or consuming cannabis in my daily diet, whether it's smoking or tea or food, edibles, I feel the pressure. It's weird. Like I feel pressure, and it's good for a day or two. And then after like 2 or 3 days, I'm like, I need that release. I need to be able to say, you know what, fuck it. Because I feel like cannabis is a big fuck it sign. So yeah, when you see cannabis, it needs to be something beside it that says fuck it. So I feel like if everybody had that level of filter with cannabis, then they would look at it different. That could be cannabis. Like, something, we could take that to the biolab and they're like, oh, I don't know what plant this is. And it could have consumption of THC active, in it, like you just never know. So I really wish people would stop considering it as a drug. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but I think you should take your mind outside of that drug word, because to me, drug means something that alters your body for the synthetic feeling. That's what I feel like a drug means. And it doesn't necessarily mean that to everybody, but that's just what it means to me. some people feel like drugs mean any type of altering substance. Well, that could be jasmine tea. That could be ginger tea. You drink too much ginger and eat citrus, you do get a buzz high. People don't know that. That's a chemical. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a chemical balance that I think a lot of biologists would tell you too. And that's just how I feel about it. So that's what cannabis means to me.
That's really dope. And I definitely feel you on that. Because last year I took a break for 4 months just to really, one, feel my body without it, and to also like re-understand what it means for me. Like what am I trying to either feel or feel? You know what I mean? And lately, like I like it to smoke at night, just because it helps me sleep well. During the day, I can't consume it as much because, like you, it kind of leaves me unproductive a little bit. So I've slowed down on like consuming during the day, but it's still one of those things that I highly recommend over any pill or anything that this can give you the same benefits of. And
Do you feel like that with tea as well? Like if you consume it within like an edible tea or juice?
Honestly, I've never tried a tea. I've tried THC honey before, and I like that a lot. And it was funny because I had a cold and I made some tea and I put it in there, and I swear I woke up the next day and just felt perfect. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I really love the benefits of it. Kind of honestly, and just to be like completely honest with y'all, I feel like shrooms are the same thing. You know, for me, the first time I tried them, like, because I used to have like pretty bad depression, and the first time I tried them, I swear I haven't felt it like that since. Yeah. And it's not something I consume on a regular basis, or I'm just, let me go take shrooms and go to a party or something like that. It's like, no, this is medicine. And when I really, really feel like I need it, I'll take it. But if I don't, I'm not going to just consume it just to consume, Yeah. But I would love, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I think it kind of goes back to like what we were talking about on the hike up here. And we were like kind of talking about how we're an enlightened generation. And I think that we're finally coming around to realizing these things actually have a purpose, and like with mushrooms, everybody's been abusing them for just to get a high out of it. But there's actually, science that says it helps with depression and anxiety and all kinds of different things. So it's really cool that we're starting to get around to that. And one other thing I was just going to say off of your point is how you were saying that you smoked it and you were just like, afterwards you were done. So I grew up super Christian. So from my family, like I've always viewed marijuana as a drug, always. So like unlearning that, going back to just unlearning things and realizing, no, it has like a purpose. It's here for a reason. Has been totally changing, and I haven't smoked since then. And now I'm kind of like sitting here. I'm like, maybe I should smoke and just like see what it's like, like see what it does for me. I mean, I definitely will never like smoke every day, but like now that we're having this conversation, I'm like, hey, maybe.
That's really cool. So, ladies, now that we've talked about THC quite a bit, I would love to know what this book is about. Candace kind of briefed me on it, but I would love if you could share with the listeners like what you guys are talking about within this book and what you're doing.
Yeah, I'll give it to Candace on that one.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I wrote strains for astrology about a year and a half ago. And I was sitting on it because we all are brought up different. We have characteristics of our parents, of life, of our astrology sign. Me being a Virgo, you being a Libra, her being an Aries. Essentially, we are different. Essentially, we are. Now, I kind of realized that going into writing strains for astrology, and I wanted this to be a guide to say, hey, there are strains out there, original OG strains before the crossbreeds, before the GMO seeds, that people need to actually see and see how they affect them. Let's take it back first. In order for us to understand something, we have to understand the origination of it. And so in my book, I labeled I'm a Virgo, so I know my triggers. My trigger is we're extremely hard on ourselves. We're critical, extremely critical of self first. We look in the mirror first. We're the only sign of astrology that's a human, supposedly, so of the cosmos. So we're very serious. We feel things deeper than a lot of individuals. We take things more personal, and we have a sense of need to please. If we don't, then we don't feel whole. And with those characteristics, I realized that certain strains will send me down that spiral. So I had to take time for me to say, hey, Candace, what's making you feel like this? What strains is bringing this out? The strains is good for Libras is you guys like to stay in the sky. Everything's free, nothing too serious, not too strenuous, not too much pressure. Everything needs to be smooth, and you love the art of love. And so with that being said, I had to look at strains that brought me out of that mind frame that I normally would be in. And I had strains that brought you onto a mind frame that bring you back down to earth sometimes when you're too far up. So I switched it around. And fire signs. You're really easygoing, I would say. You have a need for structure. You have a need for structure. And a lot of times it's too much. A lot of times it's like, hey, not everything needs to be structured in a certain way. Fire, once you're there, you're there. Fire can be destructive. It can light you and it can burn you. So earth can give you food or it can destroy your entire life. Air can suffocate you or it can give you life. So, so we have to know where we fit in the circle. And I think that's what this whole book was about it for me. So I took the time within this year and 4 months to say, hey, call, ask about the strains, smoke a little bit. I'll probably say like 60% of those strains I've actually smoked. And I felt it. Like, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. It got me out of my element. I had a trip on Scorpio. Their strains, I had a trip on those. I don't like those strains at all. Like, it was not good for me. Your air sign strains had me too floaty, but it was cool. It was like, you know what? I can't do shit today because I really don't want to. The strains I picked for Aries, Sagittarius, and Leos, they had me more on fire. More like, you know what? We're going to get this shit today. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm a Virgo, so I'm more business. So it's like business plus the fire. It was like, oh, there's no stopping me. Like, you're going to do this and we're going to sign this deal. So I think it was really fun. This book was fun for me. And our second book that's coming out is teaching people how to actually grow in their homes and make a residual income from it. And that's something that Carrie can kind of pick up from there on because she's really good at the cannabis banking and the financial side. That's your girl.
Yeah, so I started doing credit card processing for cannabis maybe like 6 months ago, actually. And it's been really interesting because it's not federally legal yet. So all these businesses or, all these dispensaries had all this cash and know where to put it, So people were literally like stuffing their mattresses and not able to put it in a bank. So it's been really like the business side of all this is really what got me into the cannabis industry at all because I had such a passion for how it all worked, not being federally legal at first, and like now the laws change every 30 days easily. Like it's such a wild west that we're working in. But the credit card processing, like when I heard one of my old bosses actually introduced me to it. And when I heard what he was doing, I was like, I have to be a part of that, you know? Like, it's such a huge relief for these businesses to be able to put their money in a bank, you know, and to accept credit cards. And I've just learned so much about it along the way. So it's been a really cool journey. It's someplace, like, I never, ever thought I'd be in the cannabis industry. And here I am. Like, I had a meeting yesterday. It's just, like, I'm constantly surprised by the people I get to meet in this industry because they're doing huge things. Like, they're changing the world. You know, anyone that's in this game right now is like, we're making history. So, and it's like, now everybody's kind of like hesitant right now to get in the game, you know, and it's like right now is the time because in a few years from now it's going to be too late, you know. I don't know. It's just been really, really cool to see the transition of it. As far as banking, I mean, I don't know what else you want to hear from me on that. I mean, because it could be kind of boring to listen to all the ins and outs of it. So, no, I mean, I just think the industry as a whole is like so fascinating, and I love the time that we're in. I think it's just such a cool and exciting time to be in this part of the space, you know.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking forward to getting into that book and just how to like make some income off of it, you know. So I look forward to seeing what you guys are bringing. Where can we find the book that's already out?
Right now we're on Amazon, and it's Strains for Astrology on Amazon, and it's also on iBooks. You can log on right now, and it's $20 on Amazon, and the same for iBooks. The Canaponics will be around the same range, which is $20 on both prospects. And I'm looking forward to working with you as well. I remember when you gave me some seeds. And no, he gave me some more seeds, and actually, and someone, and they got lost basically. So, so we have more seeds coming, you guys, right? So I'm really interested in crossbreeding. And I do want to piggyback off of what Carrie was saying about the banking side and the money side. I think my footsteps in this industry is that, and this is not to be sexist, this is not in any way, shape, or form that type of comment, but it's a truthful comment. I feel like women in the cannabis industry have not yet realized, or women in general have not yet realized their intake or their impact on cannabis. Plants are female, period. If a cannabis plant turns into a male, it kills the entire fleet. That is a known fact. So with that being said, I feel like what other female to know another female? And I think I want to leave it like that. So if you're looking, if you're looking to be in this industry and you're an amazing woman who has a green thumb or who even wants to try, I would suggest reaching out to us or even downloading the Canaponics and starting your home. There are legal ways. It's not illegal. There are legal ways for you to go down to the city and get your license for just growing a few that help you with your depression or anxiety, and they do grant you like 20 to 30 plants in your home. So you're able to do this for like $200 or $300. And the laws change, like she said, so I would just check with your city, but I'm pretty sure that law has been consistent. Get a medical card to grow and start doing it in your home, and use fish because it's organic matter, and you don't have to buy, if you're struggling, you don't have to buy the food. Fish creates poop, and poop has nitrate in it, and you need nitrate. They all grow on nitrate. That's a normal growth for a plant. So I really feel like this is the beginning of women, single moms, passive income. This is really important because out of the trillions of dollars that the government made last year, only 0.12% were women. That's a very low amount. That means basically 150 to, and correct me on the math, like maybe $200,000 of that went towards women. So that's nothing. $1 trillion, that's nothing. Like, so I really want women whoever watching this, single moms, everybody, please, like, do your steps, you know. And then obviously, if you're going to consume cannabis, edibles, or smoking, wouldn't you rather grow your own organic cannabis? Like, wouldn't you rather, like, and if you know someone, like, say she's like, hey girl, do you have I don't grow, but my best friend grows and she has some. We're always out of cannabis. We're always out. Like, there's a tree, you're going to smoke it and then it's gone. You have to keep growing, just like food. You eat the salad and then you got to grow more salad to eat tomorrow. That's just the bottom line. So there's always a space for women in this industry, and please remember that they're female plants, so they're going to respond to you very well, actually. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of go back on that, encourage women to get into the growing.
This by far has been so inspiring, like y'all don't even know. And man, I hope that more women do get into the industry, because like y'all really gave a whole lot of knowledge that just beyond what my surface level of marijuana was.
I hope you grow and she hope you stash it.
Absolutely.
She hope you put it in your bag. What's up?
Before we get out of here, I'm going to have you guys share your social media and how people can get in contact with you. But before we do that, I would love if you guys shared one piece of advice that you would give your younger self.
There's a lot of advice I'd give my younger self. I think one thing would be to just not care what other people think at all. Because like at the end of the day, you know, we all die alone. This is so like morbid. We all die alone. So like do what makes you happy, and what other people think of you just doesn't matter. And just like don't stop working for like what you really want down inside. And don't get distracted too. It's another thing I would tell myself.
Never lose that fire. Never lose your fire. No matter what happens, things are going to happen in life. Just never lose that fire that you have. You have a light inside of you, and it was put here by a higher source, whether you want to call it Allah, God, Buddhist, you know, which is a spiritual practice, and not really, they believe in God as well. But there was something put inside of you when you were created, an energy, something. And I feel like that was your light, and fire brings light. That's the closest thing we have to a tangible thing to compare to what light is. And so I tell my younger self all the time, as I continue to tell myself, as I always have when I was small, never lose that fire.
I appreciate y'all so much. Where can the people find you if they want to get in touch with you? And please let them know again where they can find the book.
You can actually find us on, I had to look this way. I was like, yeah. You can find us on WeVibe. That's W as in woman, E as in egg, E as in egg, V as in Victor, I as in igloo, B as in boy, E as in egg, and underscore. So that's WeVibe underscore. And the book is Strains for Astrology on iTunes and Amazon.
And then you can find me on Instagram, and it's just at Carrie Blackmore, Carrie, and then Blackmore. I'm on Facebook as Carrie Blackmore. And then, yeah, that's where you'll find me.
Thank y'all so much for being on the show. Thank you guys for listening. This is Mike Brown, and this is The Art of Letting Go. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of The Art of Letting Go. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe on whatever streaming platform that it is you listen on. And if we aren't there, let us know and we'll try to get on there. What do you think of the show? Hit me up on all social media at The Art of Letting Go Podcast. You can send me an email at theartoflettinggopodcast@gmail.com or give me a call, 213-394-2773. And if you would like to support the show, we do have some really cool merch that's out. check it out on teespring.com. Thank you for listening. Again, this is The Art of Letting Go.